was early 2008 when deputies were forced to play Ring Around the Rosie and Leapfrog, a case of hazing. In September of last year, an inmate found dead in his cell, a cell that was called, quote, filthy, and led to questions of how much that cell was checked before the inmate's death. Today, Sheriff Zach Scott called for change.
And I let it be known that when I came in that we're not just going to hold deputies accountable, we're going to hold all the way up to the chain who's in charge at the top.
He says it starts with management structure.
My job now is to try to start changing some of that culture. That culture, in my interpretation, was a lot of micromanagement, which I don't believe is good for the supervision or for the deputies.
Sheriff Scott very critical of the people who were part of the jail management during these investigations. Doug Edgington was one, and so was Major Mike Harrell. Harrell running for sheriff in November against Scott. We spoke to him today. He says he's not perfect, but says his leadership should not be in question.
I'll refer back to my evaluations. I received stellar evaluations from Sheriff Carnes as well as Chief Deputy Mark Barrett.
But Sheriff Scott was critical of Harrell and Edgington for incidents like the dirty cell or Leapfrog. Harrell says the latter happened on his watch, but it didn't slide.
When I found out that happened, swift action was taken. When it was brought to my attention by another supervisor who did his job and brought to my attention, we pulled the recordings and everything. We took immediate action.
Harrell says he is a leader and ran a good jail. Sheriff Scott says it's time for better leadership and accountability at the top.
You got to instill that leadership qualities, that professionalism within them, and that's what we've been lacking in our correctional facilities. So now we're working on changing a lot of that.
Marcus Thorpe, NBC4.